All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're putting on our lab coats and playing the role of cynical anthropologists to dissect a truly fascinating phenomenon from our source material, the creation of false intellectual identities online. We're going to explore exactly how people use ready-made philosophies to completely mask their insecurities and parade around as absolute authorities.
We've got 6 fascinating specimens to look at today. The cheap cultural prosthesis, the acoustic guitar Marxist, the Thomist without Thomas, the YouTube liberal, the terrified traditionalist, and finally, the escape from truth.
Okay, part 1, the cheap cultural prosthesis. So, what exactly is a cultural prosthesis? Well, our source material hits the nail on the head. Imagine a cheap, ready-made philosophy that you can just snap on. Boom! Instantly, you're a supreme judge of everyone else. You get to feel like this flawless intellectual hotshot, completely unburdened by, actually reading or understanding the philosophy itself. It's a magnificent illusion of solidity. And here's where it gets incredibly cynical, but honestly pretty insightful. Look at the psychological root here. On one side, you have a fragile personal identity. Our source suggests this often stems from deep, unresolved family drama, like maybe a careless dad or an overbearing mom. But instead of doing the hard work or going to therapy, enter the cultural prosthesis. It's the ultimate quick fix. You just patch up those deep personal insecurities with superficial, low-cost cultural armor to instantly feel superior to everyone else.
Moving on to Section 2, the acoustic guitar Marxist.
Now, observe our first specimen. The barrier to entry here is beautifully low. 0 manual contact with Karl Marx's actual books is required. Literally none. Instead, you acquire this cheap cultural prosthesis through the right social vibes. You just attend some student strikes, show up daily to acoustic guitar circles, and in return, you get this vaguely delightful, warm feeling of belonging to the absolute most progressive, enlightened tier of humanity. It's an intellectual identity based entirely on socializing.
All right, Section 3, the Thomist without Thomas.
Our source material parodies this group with a beautifully absurd 3-step formula that guarantees instant authority. Step 1, just head to the nearest parish and confess a few minor sins. Step 2, make sure you loudly badmouth Protestants, Jews, or really anyone you consider an eccentric weirdo. And Step 3, magic! You've instantly earned the equivalent of a PhD in scholastic philosophy. Absolutely no need to burden yourself with reading actual historical works by Aristotle or Thomas Aquinas. It's a perfect example of religious intellectualism being worn as a superficial social badge.
Next up, Section 4, the YouTube liberal. If you want to achieve a complete, robust intellectual formation in this specific tribe, it's incredibly easy. You just consume a highly curated, super lightweight media diet. You skim a little bit of Voltaire's Philosophical Dictionary, maybe read a select chapter or 2 of Karl Popper, and watch a couple of Richard Dawkins interviews on YouTube. And there you go. Armed with this incredibly cheap cultural prosthesis, you are now a fully qualified champion of logic and reason, perfectly positioned to look down on the ignorant masses.
Section 5, the terrified traditionalist.
Now, this group is definitely a rare breed and much less popular than the others. Why? Because their elite community ritual literally consists of hiding in absolute terror. To join this esoteric club, you basically have to hide under your bed in dread of the Kali Yuga, that impending dark age, and make sure you are never seen by anyone, anywhere. It's a hilarious observation of a subculture claiming massive spiritual superiority while simultaneously retreating entirely from the actual physical world.
Finally, Section 6, the escape from truth.
So how does this all play out online? Well, the process is remarkably universal across all these groups. Anyone, regardless of their actual intelligence, can follow this exact enrollment process. Step 1, make a mental or online declaration of membership. Step 2, instantly transform into their highly authorized spokesperson. Step 3, log on to your favorite social media platform and just start firing deadly, celestial verbal missiles at your enemies. And hey, it totally doesn't matter if those enemies are real or entirely imaginary. The glorious battle itself is the whole point.
And here is the absolute kicker. Every single one of these groups uses the exact same defensive mechanics to exclude outsiders. If you dare to think for yourself and refuse to dissolve your individuality into their simplistic formulas, watch what happens. The Marxist will label you a fascist. The Thomas will call you a heretic, the liberal will brand you a religious fanatic, and the traditionalist will dismiss you as profane. It is a completely automated labeling system designed specifically to shut down real debate and protect the group's collective ego.
Once an outsider is successfully labeled and dismissed, the group gets to pat themselves on the back. As our source beautifully puts it, they are celebrating the victory of community solidarity over the so-called intolerable individual pretension of investigating the truth of a concrete situation. You see, this behavior is never, ever about the actual pursuit of wisdom. It's a mutual agreement to protect each other's fragile egos from the terrifying complexities of the real world.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to look in the mirror and ask yourself a really tough question. Are you genuinely investigating concrete truth with all the exhausting hard work and nuance that demands? Or are you simply shopping for a cheap cultural prosthetic, seeking the comfort of a ready-made community just to stroke your own ego? Definitely something to chew on the next time you encounter an intellectual hotshot in the wild.